I have a message for my students. I think I tell them all the time, but I think they just needed to hear it a few more times because the world is just not preaching the same message that I preach. So I teach at a very specialized school in our district in Southern California. The kids that come to me, they're all on a brink of expulsion or they just need extra attention for many reasons, from like depression to anxiety to violence, aggression, gang affiliation, substance abuse, all those things, that would cause someone to be on the brink of expulsion. So they come from a school of one school is over 4,000 kids. The other school is slightly less than that. And they come to my school, two teachers, me being one, three support staff, and two classrooms. We usually have about 15 to 20 students at one time. And on our campus is a continuation school. So all the kids that didn't do well in those schools that are behind on credits go to that school. So we're like situated in the middle of a continuation school. So everybody, all the students at that school have had challenges with their academics, with their behaviors in high school. And when they get to my program, the only thing most of them can think of is figuring out a way to transfer back to what they just got sent from. I mean, that's logical, right? Like, yeah, I did bad here. I'm going to go there and then I'll make it back. And I always try to encourage them to slow down. Maybe that big school is good for you. Maybe it's not. Maybe our school is what you really need. Maybe it's not. And then over time, a lot of kids, they figure it out, They realize like a smaller setting is just better for me. And then some kids are able to just turn things around, fix a couple things, and get back on track at the larger school academically because they want to go off to college and such. But I think all of them still feel like they're not normal when they're in our program because there's just so few kids, so few teachers. We don't have a prom. We don't have a football team. And I just want to dispel that myth of normalcy. What is normal, right? Like when you think of school and education, it hasn't always been like this. A school of over 1,000 kids, 4,000 kids, that's maybe not as normal as you would like to think it is. Throughout human history, right? How many thousands of years is that? 200,000 years? Schools have never been like that. Just for the last maybe 150 to 200 years, after the Industrial Revolution, we need workers in factories. Those kids need to go somewhere else, if not work in the factory themselves. Laws came into place. Kids can't work in factories. They got to go somewhere else. Let's set up these schools. Let's pack them all in, and let's have bells so they can move from one class to another class. And the whole system just got kind of ramped up and scaled up. So we were talking about normalcy, right? Is that normal? I would like to think that, well, I know that throughout most of human history, we weren't taught in large settings. We were taught through apprenticeship to learn things from our parents, from our community. We would fill the void that the community needed. We would find our purpose within our small villages, within our small tribes. Generally, humans lived in tribes of about 150 people. You would just fill in your slot where you belonged, where you fit in. As society got bigger and bigger, yeah, we did have formalized education a couple hundred years ago. But I just visited a schoolhouse a few years ago. Tiny little schoolhouse. Looked like it could fit maybe 20 kids, 30 kids most in a couple of classrooms. I grew up, believe it or not, I grew up in Central California in a K-8 school, so kindergarten through 8th grade. We only had 112 kids, 111 kids the year that I graduated 8th grade. We live in a farming community. Our classrooms were multi-grade levels. My first experience at that school, I was in the 4th grade. That class, Mrs. Kaplan's class, had 4th, 5th, and 6th graders all in one room, studying different subject matters at different levels. Then after I was done with that class, I didn't really even appreciate it at the time, right? It was like a lot of big kids here. I'm scared, and eventually I wasn't scared, and I was able to get along with them. They were able to get along with me. I remember one kid, Willie, like he took me under his wing because he was just bigger and stronger, and I was little, and he got the chance to kind of mentor me through that little time. And then I went to 7th and 8th grade. That was one class. Mr. Addington taught that class, multi-grade level again. That felt normal to me. But fast forward to my teaching career, I started my teaching career in Compton Unified School District in Compton, California, right? And it was crowd control all the time. The school that I taught at was like in a squared cement building, and the classrooms were inside. And it was just like from bell to bell, people were just coming and going and moving. Because when you have a school of 1,200 kids, you got to be able to move and make sure everybody's safe. And safety sometimes comes at the cost of like real learning, connection, right? So I'm just saying that to say, like, what is really normal when it comes to education? In the history of the world, the history of humans, 99.9% of the time, we have never been in a school of thousands of kids, all in similar ages, interacting with just a couple of hundred adults. That may not be as normal as you think. Our school may be the new normal. And going forward, I think too, with like online education where you could pick and choose the things that you're interested in, maybe that'll be the new normal, but it'll be around less people. It'll be more customized to what you need as a human being, to what kids need as children, as individuals who are trying to find their identity, right? What are teens trying to do actually? Most teens don't know what they want to do. They have a variety of options out in front of them. They have so many different influences, especially today, right? They can just pick up a phone and look up whatever they want to look up. They can be whatever they choose to be. And sometimes the options are overwhelming. But maybe in the future we can do better as a society. Maybe these large schools have small pockets within the schools. I don't know how it's going to be. What I do know is that my students are normal. You are normal. You have always been normal. Maybe sometimes the circumstances that you have grown up in have been abnormal. And that's what's caused you to have these beliefs about yourself that you are not normal. False. You are normal.